Someone that has luck with money feels good about money. There's a level, even if it's subconscious, they feel like that's just who they are. They are a wealthy person. They are a person that money comes easily to. If you're not feeling that way, it isn't a lost cause. You can very easily turn it around. Everyone listening, you've always had either the lottery win or the equivalent of it in your life. You just haven't physically experienced it yet.
Welcome to Lottery Dreams and Fortune. I am so excited to be joined here right now with Andrew Kap. He is the author of the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. Andrew Kap, welcome to the program today. How are you doing?
Timothy, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation and wherever we might take it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for being here. And so it's really interesting. Right around a year ago, we hosted an anonymous lottery winner on this channel in this podcast, only known as Ashley. She won a little over $300,000, but she actually believes in manifestation, and she attributed her win, at least partially, to something she learned in your book. And she did scripting, and it was very interesting. So I want to play a clip for you and just kind of get your reaction to this.
Before I won, I had this burning desire. Like, it felt like if I didn't go get these tickets, it was going to be the end of the world. I think we just won over $300,000. And he was like, no. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm serious. It was still a whirlwind. And that amount of money is life-changing.
Do you believe that you manifested this win?
1,000,000% believe that it is.
Okay, so you just saw this clip, but I want to get your reaction. What do you think about this? Because she went on in the interview to talk about scripting as being something that she did, that she learned from your book. And, you know, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, obviously, it's very exciting to hear. And this isn't about my book. This isn't about my content, because to be, perfectly forthcoming, scripting was a thing before I ever wrote my book. But it doesn't come as a surprise to me when someone reports this kind of result. I even, I did an interview with somebody else where she manifested 1.6 million in like 16 months, and scripting was the foundation of her practice and her process. Now, for something like that, that wasn't a lottery win. She's also a very savvy businesswoman in this case. But the thing about manifestation, and a lot of people don't get this if they hear about manifestation very casually, is it's not just the universe giving you everything. It's your cooperation with the universe, in which you do what's within your control, and the universe handles what's not within your control, so long as you do your part to be vibrationally aligned with it.
So your cooperation with it. So what do you mean by that?
It's actually way simpler than people might think. Cooperation with the universe simply means the understanding that everything is energy, like attracts like. And believe it or not, the universe is actually very abundant in nature. So for anyone out there who's frustrating, who wants more, who is impatient, they're actually inadvertently working against themselves, because if they kind of took their foot off the gas and they gave themselves some space to breathe a little, good stuff naturally happens. So when I say, being a cooperative component with the universe, it's really just a recognition of, if you breathe, if you relax, if you start to visualize or have gratitude for, or use scripting as an example of putting out the energy, putting out the vibration of things that you want happening, of feeling good while thinking about what you have or what you want, or both, the universe almost has no choice but to respond to that signal and give you that, versus an older signal where you were not intentionally putting the stuff out there. We get surrounded by patterns each and every day. We read negative news, we hear people complaining. Being exposed to that will keep us in a state of lack, or in a mentality of lack. But if we intentionally say, I'm just going to take a few minutes out a day at least and focus on something else instead, something I want, something good, something that gives me good emotion, that in and of itself is more than enough for the universe to hear that signal and say, okay, this is what this person wants. Therefore, this is what I'm going to give to them.
and I want to get more on this in a second, but with this scripting, backing up just a little bit, if that's one of the ways where you do put out this intention, is this, some people watching or listening to this don't even know what scripting is. So what is scripting, and how do people typically use it, and why do you think that it's effective for some and maybe not everyone, or maybe you think it is for everyone, but what is it?
Yeah, well, scripting is basically journaling about your life as you want it to be, as if you're already living it, meaning you're writing things out in the present tense. So, for example, anyone out there who wants a big job promotion, they're not scripting, please let me get this promotion, please let me get this promotion. They're saying, "Oh, I'm so grateful for this awesome promotion that I'm enjoying. Here are the cool things about it. I love my new corner office. I love the people I'm working with. I love whatever it might be." They're scripting with those details. Scripting the way I teach it, because when people read other books, law of attraction books, they tend to get stuck in this rigid structure of the person gave these instructions, and if they don't follow them to the letter, they're doing something wrong and they're not going to get what they want. Whereas I teach more of a, here's clear instructions, follow it to the letter if you want, but have flexibility to what you want. So scripting can be handwritten. You can literally write this out on a notepad. If that cramps your hand up, you can type it out on a keyboard. And if you don't like that, you could literally speak it. That's something I do every day, actually. I pull out my phone, I turn on the voice memo, and I talk about my life. Well, I talk about stuff that's actually here already, but I also talk about stuff in the future as if it's already here. So there can be written scripting, typed scripting, spoken scripting, which, to answer your final question, it does work so long as people do it in a way that they're not contradicting itself. Because there could be the person who's scripting and they're gritting their teeth and they're like, this will make it happen. And when they're putting down the details like that, they're putting out the signal, the emotion of not having it, even though they think they're writing it down. Whereas if they just breathe and relax and genuinely feel good about what they're writing down, then they're actually putting out the energy. It's one thing to try to force it and have impatience and concern yourself with not only the timing, but the manner with which the universe gives it to you. And it's another one to say, I am genuinely grateful for this thing. I'm happy in the meantime. I have no agenda on how the universe and when the universe is supposed to give this to me. And therefore, I'm open for so much more possibility. I'm open for a lottery win, but I'm also open for an inheritance. I'm open for a book idea. I'm open for an investment decision. I'm open for anything that might bring abundance or happiness or success or vitality or whatever I else want to me.
And so it's not so much about the timing, because so many people do get caught up in the timing. So you're saying that not how it comes, but just being open to it.
Well, and here's where the nuance comes in. From my perspective, yes. So let's actually use deadline as an example. Some people will say, I'm going to get this thing in 90 days. I'm going to win the lottery in 90 days. Now, there's two types of personalities. There's one where they say that, and they wake up the next day and they're excited. Now it's only 89 days to the lottery. And they wake up the next day. Now it's only 88. This is awesome, right? There's another personality, my personality, where if I say that and I wake up, I'm like, oh no, I only got 89 days left to make this happen. And I wake up, oh no, I only have 88 days to make this happen. So it's really, it always comes down to how you feel. So when you put in a time constraint or you put in a deadline or you put in whatever, if that makes you feel more aligned, if that actually excites you, if there's a genuine sense of confidence, I say, awesome, do that, because that works for certain people. But if there's a hesitation, if there's a pull, if there's a worry, if there's a doubt, if there's a fear and uncertainty, I'd say, why not relax? Be assured that the universe has got this. Acknowledge that you're doing your part in the meantime, and let it pleasantly surprise you. Sometimes a lot quicker than you might have even been wanting to in the first place.
How important are the words that you say or you write down versus the feeling of it? Because some people argue that the feeling of it matters much more than the actual words. But what is your perspective on that?
I don't view it as this is better than this. I view it as another cooperation. We strategically choose words that resonate with us personally to get emotions that we want. The well-known term, anyone that's followed Law of Attraction knows, I'm so happy and grateful now that. I think Bob Proctor may have been the first person to introduce that. That's a wonderful term on paper, But if that doesn't resonate with you personally, if you feel awkward, like you've never said that before in your life, and all of a sudden you read a law of attraction book and it says to do that, and you're like, it feels like a mismatch of energy. Maybe it'll get there eventually, but you could just as easily say, this is what excites me about what I'm getting, or this is what excites me about what I have. Like, what terminology do you use as your own personality, your own figures of speech? I say you go with that, because when you go with that, it feels natural to you. It feels natural to you. It feels good. It feels good. That's the whole point.
So I've met and interviewed quite a few people that have won the lottery, and some of these people, a fair number, believe that they have manifested their wins, including Ashley, who read your book. But what do you think is actually happening when someone wins a major prize, whether it's the lottery or anything really, and then they attribute it to the law of attraction or manifestation?
Well, I mean, I believe whether or not they attribute it to the law of attraction or manifestation, everyone does manifest, and it's in direct correlation with their intentional or unintentional alignment. So you speak to all these people that win the lottery. I imagine a lot of them have stories where like, I scripted, I visualized, I felt like it was on the way, it was really exciting. Those are examples of people that were very proactive in terms of their energy and their alignment, because they had an innate understanding that that was a strategic advantage towards aligning the energy so that the thing could happen for them. Obviously, there's other people that win the lottery that never did that. They were still aligned to it, but for them, buying the lottery ticket felt enough vibrationally aligned for them that that was all that was needed. Now, people that hear that and they're like gritting their teeth, like, oh my God, I'm doing all these exercises, I'm doing all this scripting, and that person only had to buy a ticket, they didn't have to worry about it. That's not fair. It's not about fair. It's about what works to get anyone listening personally aligned. And for me, this is why, because I'm a guy that knows that it works this way, so I do this every day. I find a way of making it fun. That way, when another person wins the lottery just because they bought a ticket, I don't have to be jealous, because what I got that they didn't get was I got the enjoyment every day of feeling good about all the things in my life, about all the friends in my life, about my health, about my vitality, about my money, about my abundance. I got to enjoy the process of manifesting and bringing this about. So everyone, in my opinion, manifests. They just do it in different ways, some consciously, some subconsciously.
Well, how do you feel good when if something happens and maybe you're having a bad day, or with the lottery, for example, if you lose and you don't feel good about, some people at least will be kind of, disappointed and feel kind of bummed out about that. But whether it's that or a promotion or anything in life, and it doesn't go the way you want, how do you reframe that in your mind? How do you feel good about that? Because that's what you're doing, right?
Right. And not that you said this, Timothy, but I imagine certain people are going for this. I personally don't try to manifest a perfect life. I manifest a really awesome one. And what I mean by that is, the promotion not happening to me is not the end of the world. And even though that would honestly really annoys me, it'll, like, if it happens to me, I'm like, okay, how do I either use this to my advantage or just like make an advantage either way? And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to feel good about money. Like, we're on the topic of lottery. You don't have to feel good about money in order to manifest money. The universe already knows that you want money. All you have to do is feel good. Meaning, if I go and I try to win the lottery and I don't get it, I'm like, okay, what can I do constructively for myself that's still going to get me aligned for money in the future? Well, I'm going to be grateful for what I have, but maybe they don't have a lot. Well, actually, you do. First of all, anyone who's listening to this right now or watching this, they have a device that does amazing things for them. It runs their email, they've got their bank app, they've got their dating app, they've got their investment app. Like, all the things that you are hearing or watching this interview on, that's serving you in amazing ways. And if you can't be grateful for that, imagine someone took it away from you, how upsetting that would be. All of a sudden, you're really grateful. It's like the person that stubs their toe, all of a sudden, they're grateful for walking normally. The person that injures their hand, all of a sudden, they're grateful for the ability to open a jar without any pain. And for me, if you can't think of anything to be grateful for, the example I always go to is my heart that's been beating in my chest every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every month of every year of every decade I've been alive. If I can't be grateful for that, I've got a lot bigger problems than not winning the lottery today.
Yeah, yeah, that is really inspirational. It's amazing. Even I don't know what you think about this, but even being born into your body, the odds of being born into your body are so minuscule. You have better odds of winning the lottery millions of times over than being born into your very body with your exact makeup. But
You sort of won the Earth lottery just by being here.
yes, yeah.
And a way more astronomical lottery than the one that's currently in the world today. It's way more astronomical than a Powerball or a Mega Millions.
With the law of attraction, some people, a lot of people that watch or listen to this believe in it, but not everybody. So I'm just curious your thoughts on where does the law of attraction get misunderstood? Because I mean, even for me, before I understood what it was, I thought it was just wishful thinking. It was thought you just thought of something and then it just popped into existence. And I was like, well, that can't be true. And so I, did a lot of research and have interviewed a lot of people on it. But what do you say to skeptics of this, and what do you think is misunderstood about the law of attraction?
Well, there's actually two answers there because there's two questions. There's what I say to the skeptics, and there's what's misunderstood. What I believe is misunderstood, it's kind of like what I mentioned a little bit earlier, where people they hear about the law of attraction, and whether it's intentional or inadvertent, it's presented to them in a way, or it's interpreted in a way that the universe is supposed to do everything. Whereas the universe does a lot, it does what's not within our control, but still in a three-dimensional reality here. We're still in a physical reality. If I want to get in really good shape, yes, I can manifest the universe giving me an awesome personal trainer or a free subscription to like a really good meal plan. I still got to go into the gym. I still got to lift those weights. So a lot of people misunderstand that they have to be a legitimate intentional. Well, if they want to get what they want, they have to be a cooperative component. If they don't want to get, they're already being a cooperative component to whatever they're getting right now. Regarding the skeptics, I don't try to change their mind. What I say is this, because again, every law of attraction author is different. My whole thing is all you need to do, even though the mechanics beneath the surface are very complicated, the application, the implementation can be very simple. You only need 5 minutes a day of feeling good while thinking about what you have or what you want or both. If you don't believe in the law of attraction, just think about this. If you just take 5 minutes out a day and you just feel good, those are 5 minutes where you're not worried about your mortgage. You're not worried about issues with your spouse. You're not worried about your career. You're not worried about the state of the world or the economy. Those 5 minutes, even if you never manifest anything on a result, are a win in and of themselves. So the skeptics say this is BS. I say, cool, just do this and don't even think of it as a law of attraction exercise. And by the way, when it happens, when you actually manifest something, don't give Andrew credit. Don't give his book credit. Don't give the law of attraction credit or the universe credit, but at least recognize that this thing came after you did this thing. So keep doing that thing to see if it keeps happening. Be a scientist about the whole thing.
Is there a way that you think is best to be a scientist about it in terms of do you do a quiet place and just sort of meditate, as they say, or how do you suggest that someone does this?
An easy one to do, because each person has their own that works for them, but an easy one that anyone can do right now, if they're curious, is after this interview, because hopefully we'll have some more insights for you, but after this interview, maybe you want to sit down for 30 seconds, close your eyes, take a nice, easy, deep breath, and not even think hard, just consider the things in your life in the past, the present, or what's on the way in the future that you're grateful for. It could be just someone special in your life. It could be a moment where someone did you a favor. It could be the favorite time period from your life. It was high school, it was college, it was 2 years ago, whatever it might be. Just take 30 seconds out and sit in the present moment without the distraction and minutia and negativity, quite frankly, of everyday life.
How important do you think feeling and belief are? Because it sounds like that is feeling grateful, having gratitude for everything. And what about belief? Because some people swear that is extremely important as well.
It is and it isn't, because the thing about belief is, again, and this is where people misinterpret it. They'll read a book, it's like, you've got to believe. And for all I know, I probably inadvertently snuck it into the last law of attraction book you'll ever need to read. I probably phrase it in a way where it could be interpreted like you have to believe. And yes, you do, but this isn't a thing where you can force yourself to believe. This is a thing where, in my opinion, if you casually and easily keep visualizing things and keep sending signals and images to your subconscious mind, the belief happens for you. Like, to change your belief, I mean, on paper, it's a very difficult thing. So for a typical person, if they try to change their beliefs, all they're doing is reminding themselves every single day that they believe something else, and becomes like this wall that they keep hitting. So I say the belief will be there. It will change. It will serve you. But sometimes the belief is not even conscious. It's subconscious. In fact, all the things happening in your life right now are your beliefs. You might say, well, I don't believe I should be in this job. Well, on a subconscious level, you believe that you have to be some kind of equivalent of the job you're in right now, because that's what's going on. So yeah, belief's important, but it's not something that you just wave a magic wand and you force it through. It's something where, in my view, strategically, you introduce images into your mind that contradict that provide the belief that you want, and the belief emerges on its own, and then that supports your manifestation for you.
And you mentioned the subconscious mind. And some people say that, like, the state akin to sleep right before you're going to sleep or right when you wake up, that it's fertile ground for your subconscious mind if you're trying to implant, for lack of a better word, an idea into there. What do you think about that sort of thing? Like, thinking about that right before you go to bed or before you wake up, or right after you wake up, before you're fully awake?
I agree that could be a very useful and power strategy. And the only thing I would caution people on is, if you do that, make sure you're enjoying it, because none of this should feel like a chore. None of this should feel like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted, I just got to go to sleep. But wait, I've got to be thinking about this thing. So if it feels good to do it, if it doesn't feel like an obligation, it's a strategically powerful aid. It's not requirement, but it can be very useful for you. But just make sure that you're actually enjoying it, because the rub of all this is that anytime you do a method, if you're not enjoying it, even if you think you're manifesting the thing that you want, you're manifesting the opposite intention, because you're feeling bad about it.
It seems like what you're saying is that feeling is very, very important. But you mentioned a little earlier about taking action steps. I don't know if you used that word, but actually being persistent and taking action steps. How important do you think that is when it comes to manifesting whatever someone's seeking, whether it's money or a dream life or anything?
Yeah. First, Timothy, thank you for asking these questions, because you're really unpeeling this onion in such a perfect way, taking out the layers here, because, yeah, that's really important. Regarding the action part, the nuance to the action part is, people, you're like, I say this to anyone listening, you're not taking action to force the thing happening. You're taking action in cooperation with the thing happening. Meaning, if you're taking action from a lackful state because you're trying to force it, that's not useful or healthy. The action that you should take is the one that gets inspired. So here's, to add clarity to this. I want success. I don't know yet how it's going to come. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to visualize whatever my version of success is, whether it could be the fancy cars, it could be the big house, it could be whatever, financial freedom, right? I keep visualizing that. And then one day the universe gives me an idea. Here's a book idea. Here's a business idea. Here's this. And it feels good. It feels aligned. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to force it. It feels like, yeah, this is good. That's the action you take. You write the book. You start the business. You do the exercise. You change your diet, whatever it might be. That's what I mean by action, because, again, we're here. We've got to do our part, but the universe will often feed us through our subconscious mind that we mentioned before, ideas that will aid you and that will integrate and have a synergy with what you want.
With, taking action, I mean, that seems very, very important to take action to. I mean, it makes complete sense. But some people get what other people call luck, or, for a lottery win, for example, you buy a ticket, so that is an action, but it can come very, very quickly in some cases. If you're talking about money, for example, whether it's an inheritance or you're a pro athlete or something happens and you come across sudden wealth, and whether you were or were not anticipating that, So, what are your thoughts on luck and money is the question. Can people influence their financial reality through intention and belief? And if so, how can people do this? Like, what are your thoughts on luck and money?
Yeah, so to me, I mean, luck in and of itself is, we'll look at someone else's luck. I'll phrase it that way. When you look at someone else's luck, that's basically you're seeing somebody enjoy something that they're vibrationally aligned with, that you don't see the alignment, but they're aligned with it, that you're just not there yet. And it bothers you, right? Like luck just means you're aligned, like it happened. You're aligned with the quick, easy thing. You're aligned with the lottery win. You're aligned with, and again, oh, that person gets all the promotions. They have all the luck. Well, they have a certain confidence and they carry themselves a certain way, which is feeding their vibration, which then feeds into their action, which then feeds, it's a loop. So in terms of money, like having luck with money, someone that has luck with money feels good about money. There's a level, even if it's subconscious, that they feel like that's just who they are. They are a wealthy person. They are a person that money comes easily to. And if you're not feeling that way, it isn't a lost cause. You can very easily turn it around. But if you're not feeling that way right now, if you're looking at other people, they have all the luck, that's another version of you screaming at yourself that you don't have the luck, which is you screaming at yourself that you don't have the money. And again, the very easy fix is, in what ways are you abundant that will get you aligned with more of this money? And I was talking about like things that are within your control. It's not always action. Like, what is within your control? Like for me, here's what's within my control if I want to win the lottery. Yes, I'm buying a ticket. What else can I do that's within my control? I can script about how I plan to use the money. I can script about what happens once I have the money. Like everyone wants like the $1 million and they want the house. Who has actually put the thought of like, okay, when this lottery win happens, who's my money manager? What investment decisions am I making? Am I forming a trust? What are the legalities of my trust in my state? When you actually go and you do that research, prepping your way, that is something that you're taking action on, even if you're not forming a trust, that you're doing the work. You bought the ticket, but you're also paving the way through the scripting, through the details. It's like a wonderfully powerful strategy because it's putting you in the mindset of like, not I'm going to get the money, but I have the money. What am I going to do with it now? I need someone to help me manage this so that I don't recklessly spend all of it. I need to find out, do I want a house that requires like service, like maids and stuff like that? Or do I want a smaller house that I can clean on my own? Do I want a house with this kind of level of tax bracket? Do I want a house with that? Like, I think most people, they just want to win the lottery because not only do they want to be financially free, they just no longer want the current financial burden. They don't want the bills. And that's fair. Of course you don't want the bills. All I'm saying is, strategically speaking, if you haven't even made these kinds of decisions from the place of having the money, then you're not doing your part as much as you could to be vibrationally aligned with it arriving.
And if you are using scripting as a tool, I know you were talking about this in the beginning, but if you're using that as a technique, are you writing and saying this again as in the present tense? And you are, I mean, say that you want to come across $1 million or a few 100,000 or anything like that. Are you writing, I am this, I'm so happy that I have this? Or is it more the feeling? You mentioned this earlier, but can you kind of reinforce?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And again, the wording like I always recommend like the wording that fits the person's personality. So like if I'm so happy and grateful now, that works, cool. But really, so I'll give you like a version of scripting. You could literally like write a letter to a friend. Imagine like, you've won the money and you're writing a friend telling them about this. And you can also write a letter to your future or past self. You could write a letter thanking God or the universe. But you write a letter and you say, I've got exciting news. I've won the lottery. Here's what I'm doing with it. I'm taking 200 grand and I'm putting it into this real estate. I'm taking this amount of money. I'm doing this with it. And by the way, here's what excites me about this real estate. It's got this wonderful view. It's close to town. It's an easy commute. I'm so excited. It's also off the beaten path, so there's no noise from neighbors. Like, I'm so happy. This is amazing. Oh, by the way, here's also what I'm doing. I found a money manager. I found a lawyer who's going to help me with the trust with this so that I can manage this. I've actually found someone who can give me a 30-year plan so that I can live in luxury for 30 years and the money won't run out. Here's what I'm excited about. And by the way, I went and I bought an orchard. I love apples. I bought an orchard. This is so, you've got to come visit. This is so awesome. Like, even me saying this, I'm giving you an example. I'm getting caught up in it. And you can see, even just by the way, like you could hear me emote, the emotions are coming automatically. And some people, they might do this and it might feel like a lie for a little, like, just keep talking. And here's another thing. I call this is a version of my time lapse method. You intermingle things that you already have that you're grateful for with things in the future that you're grateful for. So, because psychologically, we can't downshift very easily. So, for example, I've sold over 150,000 copies of the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read, right? If I'm expressing gratitude for selling that number, and then like a minute later, I'm excited about 1 million copies. Like, there's a level of me that doesn't know the difference, so I'm getting myself faster to selling 1 million copies of the book. I mean, that's not an exact translation because that's so similar. But like, if I want to manifest the love of my life, first I talk about how excited I am because I've sold 150,000 copies of my book. I'm getting interviewed by Timothy Schultz. This is so awesome. And by the way, I just met the love of my life. This is cool. Like, it happens so fast. I'm like, well, Andrew, did you? That doesn't even like come into the mind because I'm just in the path. So, no, and by the way, I think anyone listening by now can tell I'm a spoken scripting guy because I'm just like a word salad and boom, it's just like how my mind processes. But again, you can write this, you can type it, give yourself the gift of getting swept up in the moment of describing these details. And by the way, because I know this is like a lot of people, they want to win the lottery. I say, yes, awesome. That's a wonderful goal. Give yourself the freedom to have other goals that fit in with it. Because I've been talking about this recently. Manifesting money, it isn't a linear thing. A lot of people think I want to win. They watch a movie, and in a 2-hour sequence, the hero has a challenge, and they overcome it, and they win, and boom, in 2 hours it happens. It's done, right? The way manifestation works is even after you win the lottery, it's like manifestation doesn't end there, and it didn't begin there either. For me, I mean, I would gladly take the lottery, but my own personal view of manifesting is like, I manifest through all my book sales. I manifest through investments. I manifest through having business ideas. So for me, it'll be $50 here. It'll be $5,000 there. It'll be $20,000 there. And maybe now just $15,000 there. Like, for me, I'm more of the mindset of, and this is where luck comes in, why these people seem lucky, because for them, money doesn't come just once, it just comes. It's not even about this moment that we build up to. It's a moment that you're already in and always have been in. And when you put yourself, and I know that's a little bit out there, but when you kind of just put yourself in the idea of like, this isn't linear. Money's coming today. It's coming tomorrow. It's going to be a lottery win. It's going to be something other than a lottery win. It's going to be both on the same day. It's going to be both in the same year. And there's this flexibility and this looseness of, I'm putting all this out there, and the universe knows what I want, and the universe knows how to get it better than I do. And the universe, when it's ready, will feed me ideas that I can cooperate with it. But in the meantime, it's doing its part. I'm just going to do my part with whatever I know in the moment. That's what I mean by like with script. Notice that's like, it's not just scripting. It's the mindset around the scripting. It's the attitude of, life isn't perfect right now. It doesn't have to be. While I'm waiting for that lottery win, I'm going to enjoy my life to whatever measure I can with whatever means I have right now. Whether I've got an extra $100 left over after I pay all my bills, or I've got an extra $1,000, or it's not even about money and I need more time left over, or whatever it might be.
That's so interesting. And I have quite a few questions, but when it comes to entering this state of mind, you mentioned that time not really existing, or it not being linear, and sort of speaking to your future self, speaking to your past self, and that sort of thing. So what actually is time, in your opinion? Why does this happen like this? Or what's your opinion on this?
Well, to me, and I've never said this way before, so hopefully I'm actually happy with my explanation. Time is our linear experience of a life that's not occurring on a linear level, because we're a condensed consciousness. We're humans, right? We only have so much cognitive ability, so much processing ability of input. Right now, what's going on that there are colors right now that our eyes don't even see that are in front of us. We just don't perceive it. Our senses don't pick it up. So much is going on all the time. We pick up these experiences in this linear progression, in this temporal progression, right? And that's fine because given the fact that we experience it that way, we operate based on that. We say, all right, I will spend 5 minutes, that's a time metric, of doing this manifesting method. And then tomorrow, another time metric, I'll do another 5 minutes. So time is just the way we experience life. Therefore, strategically speaking, of course, we're going to implement our strategies around it. But the actual way things come to us is not limited by time. So when I say time doesn't exist, I mean these constraints that you have to live your life and enjoy your life are not the same constraints that the universe faces in terms of what it gives you. And to give you one more example here, this happened very recently. And like I've been hearing a lot of stuff about like silver, right? And like silver this, silver that, silver's going up in price. And it never occurred to me before, but I remembered like even as adults, we always have that one box of stuff from when we were like kids that we kind of keep with us because like it's important. I had this memory of like, I think someone gave me a silver coin one time. So I go and I look, and yeah, when I was like 12 or 13 years old, a family friend gave me like an American Eagle 1 ounce silver dollar, right? Yeah, I think it was 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I had this realization of this money. But Timothy, I had this money for like decades. I always had this silver, and now was the realization of it. Everyone listening, you've always had either the lottery win or the equivalent of it in your life. You just haven't physically experienced it yet. It's there already. And if it's not the lottery, it's an investment win, it's a business idea, it's an inheritance, or it's something else. I think people forget how amazing it is just to have clean drinking water. How amazing it is just to be able to breathe and not wonder where your next breath is coming from, not worried that there's no oxygen. I don't know if anyone remember that movie Spaceballs, where they were running out of air and they were like opening air out of a can. Like it was painted in this really goofy way, but just to think about that, you have air, you have air in your lungs, you have water, you have all this life around you. You have so much wealth. And when you let yourself appreciate it on that level, the universe hears you and it's like, all right, here's a money version of this. Here's the lottery, or here's a promotion, or here's whatever else is going to like fit where you are right now, vibrationally speaking.
And would you say that when the universe hears you, do you think, what's your opinion on prayer being a form of potentially manifestation or tying into this sort of thing? When you pray, that, what are your thoughts?
Prayer, like love, in other words, it's a loaded word in the sense that we all bring our own meanings to it, right? There's a religious and non-religious element of it. I say this about prayer. How you pray is basically how you feel. So there's prayer of the sense of like begging for something, not even asking, but like desperately begging because you're in a bad situation, you want to get out of it really fast. There's also prayer of like, thank you. I don't put a lot of I don't push a lot of like religion. I'm not an expert on it, but I know when people say grace, right? They don't say, Lord, please give us this food. They say, Lord, thank you for this food, right? So prayer is a very, in my view, it's a powerful tool that, depending on how you go about it, can either be reinforcing the reality of what you don't want or reinforcing the reality of what you do. If you're like, please let me have this, you probably want to take a step back and like, okay, I might be coming from the consciousness if I don't have it, versus I'm really happy and I'd really appreciate if you can give me this also. Thank you so much, by the way. That's a lighter level. And an even higher level is like, oh, thank you for this, what's right now. Thank you for the lottery win on the way. Thank you for everything. I'm so grateful. That's like, to me. So I'd say, like, not even non-religiously speaking, like, use prayer strategically. Use it in a way that is aligned with attracting what you want.
You've mentioned throughout this interview, like, this overall theme of just being very grateful and using gratitude and being in this really positive place. Some people that talk about manifestation and spirituality or energy and consciousness are really into what they call the flow state. And when you enter this flow state, everything seems to go along, seamlessly without as much effort. And that's what they say. But what are your thoughts on the flow state, and what is the quickest way to get into this? Would you say that that's gratitude, or?
Yeah. So to me, the flow state is basically a state of not being resistant. It kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier, where it's like everything's abundant already. Like, so long as you're not pushing against it, the stuff is coming to you. What you want is coming to you. To me, the flow state is when you let go of the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, the urgency, the impatience, the frustration. If you just like accept in the moment, like everything's okay. And then, of course, they call it flow because you're just gliding. You're not scraping and clawing and bumping your way to what you want or what you don't want. You're just flowing along in natural resonance with the timing and energy of the universe to get what you want. Gratitude to me, and by the way, like, obviously you know what you're doing here, so high compliments to being a wonderful host. Of course, you're listening really intently and you're hearing the word gratitude a lot. You probably also heard strategy a lot. I'm a very, like, even though I talk about stuff that a cynic would call airy-fairy, I'm a very practical guy. I'm very, like, for me, this is all about strategy. How do I knowing what I know about the universe, how do I strategically use it to my advantage? Gratitude to me, I don't know if it's the best thing, but strategically for me, it's the best thing of getting in the flow state in that in that it's the easiest for me to do. The thing about gratitude that's so magic is gratitude is one of those things that seamlessly puts you into the state of having what you want because you're thankful for what you want. And when you're thankful for what you want and you have the state of having what you want, the universe knows about all the other things that you want and it gives you those. So when you're grateful, now things are easy. That's flow. When you appreciate, now things are seamless. That's flow. So I wouldn't call gratitude like the best thing, but it's the best thing I've found so far.
And we are here with Andrew Kap, the author of the last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. Andrew, for people that want to read your book or learn more about you or everything that you have going on, where can people find you?
Thanks for asking. So very easy way to find me is andrewkap.com. That's K-A-P. And that'll go to all sorts of fun stuff. That'll go to links to my books on Amazon. That'll go to my newly launched Law of Attraction VIP Academy. And if people don't want to pull their wallets out, it'll also go to my YouTube channel. So whether or not you spend anything, it was my intention in putting all the things out that people would find value regardless of their financial situation. So anyone and everyone's welcome. But more importantly, thanks everyone for listening here. And obviously you're on a good channel here. You're with someone that really cares about you. So I'm very appreciative that you've invited me on to share with your audience.
Absolutely. No, thank you for your time. This is so fascinating. And we will link to that in the show notes if you're listening to this, or in the description of this if you're watching this on YouTube. But I have a couple more questions before we get going, but what is your best advice for someone that really is hoping to jump into, like, what's the most powerful thing someone could be doing right now to manifest their dream life or abundance, or maybe it's a relationship, but they want X, fill in the blank. What should they be doing? Like, I mean, there's lots of things that you've spoken about in this interview, but what's the most powerful thing?
Yeah. So this answer is coming from the recognition. I realize, by the way, everything I say here, for some people, it might be inspirational. And for others, there might be easier said than done, Andrew. So this answer is coming from the place of, for those that are just like, you don't just want the thing, you desperately want it. You just want that lottery win already. You just want to meet that person already. Like, you just want, Andrew, what's the answer? And to me, the easiest thing to begin with is to recognize, again, strategically. This isn't about easier said, like, this isn't me like saying that life is perfect. No, just strategically recognize that desperation is working against you. And in response, just do 30 seconds to 5 minutes of any kind of form of gratitude every single day, just to take the foot off the gas, just to have a little bit of ease of yourself, just to remind yourself that even in the face of financial difficulties or health difficulties or relationship difficulties, there are things in this world that you still have, And it's through your strategic appreciation of them that you'll get more of the other things. Just 30 seconds to 5 minutes of just, what am I grateful for today? Like, what's genuinely good in my life? What, if someone took away, would be horrible? I mean, again, you can breathe, you've got water, you've got food, you've got a roof over your head, clothes on your back, friends, family, you've had experiences, any of those things. Just think about that every single day. That's very powerful. It's deceptively powerful.
Well, I'm grateful for you being here today and for sharing your insights. Again, and people can find you at andrewkap.com. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is there anything else that you want to say today that I do not know enough to ask, or maybe that you just want to say today?
Well, now that we're at the end of the interview, I want to make sure people kind of hung around and heard everything. But now I'm going to reiterate, you've invested this time to hear this interview. You've blocked out this time. I imagine you hopefully have, anyone listening, another 60 seconds. Once this interview ends, stay where you are seated, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and just think about stuff that you're great. Like, feel good now. Don't say, oh, this is a great idea, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Do it right now. Like, what a perfect opportunity off the heels of this that I couldn't stress enough. It's so simple, so powerful. You won't even realize how powerful it is, probably until you do it for a month, but you'll also probably feel it in the moment. So dive on in.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Andrew. I love this. And I'm gonna do this myself when we get off of here. But thank you so much for your time today. It's such a pleasure, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Timothy. I really appreciate you, and I'm going to take my own advice and do it as well.
Before I won, I had this burning desire. Like, it felt like if I didn't go get these tickets, it was going to be the end of the world. I sit down and I'm looking at the ticket and I'm looking at my phone. I jump up and I go, babe, am I tripping or do these numbers match? I think we just won over $300,000. And he was like, no. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm serious. But that night we put it in a little tin can and we went to that tin can like 100 times. It was still a whirlwind, and that amount of money is life-changing.
Do you believe that you manifested this win?
1,000,000% believe that it is. You literally can manifest anything into your life.